Okay, I want to do a talking about your aura and why they seek to infect it. They being whether the people are conscious, you have groups of folks that are consciously aware that they are negatively, trying to negatively impact you in some way. And then you have others who are not truly consciously aware that what they are doing is something to do with trying to put you in a negative space. But I want to talk about it from the biofield, the auric perspective. I was just listening to a TikTok that is like does the tapping, okay, to clear stuck trauma and energy. And he made a statement about your vibration, right? Which you can't get past your own scripting, your own thinking, your own self-image. You can't get past it. Every time you try to get past it, something will jar you back into the lower frequency. And then he mentioned something about like basically what you're putting out, you'll eventually manifest the things that you're vibrating essentially. When I said that, I thought it was important for me to share this because this can get misconstrued. It can get misconstrued and it can really make some good folks feel like they're not doing something enough or that it's something to do with, okay? The biofield, the auric field is responding to many, many things from internal to external over a period of time. Even when we have a bad mood, our auric field will show something different. So there's a lot of factors, and I've been doing my own science projects on myself over the last few weeks. Okay, gauging my auric field, scanning it, and working that can actually scan it. Okay, um, so what I found fascinating is the shifts in that. When I was feeling a little bit tired of, unbeknownst to some people, I'm actually taking some online courses currently, but I just don't talk about it. I am currently taking online courses, and there are times where I feel like it's drudgery, okay? Where I feel like I don't feel like doing the assignment of learning and studying and stuff. It was a time where I didn't feel like it. This is about maybe I felt like doing my assignment. And what's funny is I scanned my aura and the thing that it said made me laugh because it said, "Oh, you're a student. You feel obligated, blah, blah, blah. And you may," and I laughed. I was like, what the hell is that? And I had to think, but that's true. I'm like, well, it's true. In the moment that I'm scanning my energy, that is currently my vibration. That is currently what I'm thinking and feeling. Why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about it from the perspective where this is not so much you, because we affect our own auric field, but the title says your auric field and why they want to affect or affect it. And it's because of what is actually true of this plane of existence. Vibration. If they can muddle you, which is basically essentially a strong projection, as I said, you have individuals and groups of folks that are consciously aware of what they're doing. Then you have folks who they are not aware, they have no awareness. Okay, but especially when it comes to people who they don't like you. Okay, for whatever the reason, they have some kind of way with you and want you to feel some kind of way because they have an issue. Yep. So if they can infect, then by laws of this plane of existence, of resonance, the law of resonance, then if, especially, let's say your defenses are already down, that's why I'm trying to be careful of how I am teaching about it, because I'm not into the whole making victims feel worse than, or making the victim appear to be like it's something about them that they're not doing right, or maybe it's like, no, 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 no. Nope. We're going to go ahead and clear that up good and plenty. I had a scan, I saved these scans too. One of the days that I scanned my work, I thought that was odd. And then I saw the progression of as I've been doing frequency work. One of the times I scanned it, it had like, it came off and said anger, like it was a lot of, but I really wasn't feeling that way. See, I'm talking about this because projection into your inner, of it is internal, some of it is external. In the moment, I wasn't feeling that, but I was feeling attacked though. So that vibration was there because I was sensing all of the anger and the hostility. But me personally, per se, in that moment, maybe I was irritated about their anger. You see it? This is why they want to affect, infect. Because the law of resonance. If everything else can't work, maybe the law of resonance will. If all of the poison in your personal belongings and all of the $1 million of spells and all, if all that's not working actively or in the way in which they seek, then okay, hence, ergo, enter, illegally placed on a watch list under false pretense. Okay, this is not happening fast enough. So let's make shift, it's not happening fast enough. So let's they concoct, go into authorities, false reports, false statements, revving up extremist radical groups and agendas, okay, to get this person put on the list so that now we can infect their auric field with our massive million-hole watch. With our massive million-man march and distorted version, because again, it's to remember, it's all energy and egregores and vibration. And when you can get a collective of people to unify, that's energy. That's why I say what I say all the time. Everyone is a witch, a wizard, a warlock, and everybody is spelling, whether they are ready to accept that or not. Everybody is. Because again, you get a collective of energies, beings with a shared hatred. That's collective bodies of energy being projected into someone's auric field. Why? Listen. Why they need so badly proximity to get what? Near the auric field. This is why they're willing to pay a drunkard, an ex-con, a youth that's in trouble. This is why they're willing to go to that extent, because they're hoping for law of resonance. Keep them in impoverished lands and areas, underdeveloped. Get them in a place that's ridden with things unseen that most of the world is not privy to. They just think it has some, just the building structure or whatever. But why they try to infect your auric field? I'm rooting for y'all. That's why you're looking at that. I'm rooting for y'all. I'm rooting for me. for you, because again, some of this is just old-fashioned harassment on a grand scale. Versus being harassed by one estranged ex-lover or one, you know what I'm saying? This is just something that's on a mass grand scale to affect, infect the auric field. Frequency, somebody's going to say, well, that's, well, what are we supposed to do about it? But I've been doing my own science project. In the middle of it, we can still fit with frequency maintenance along with other things in the toolkit, because I have an holistic approach. There is not no one thing, double negative. There's not no one, no one thing that I use. I wiggle with it. And what do I mean is, when adjustments is needed, I make a such. I'm okay with that too. So that you will be managing their junk by way of their projection. That's what abusers are doing. Even if the abuser don't know, that's what they're doing. That's why it is said, if you all were narcissistic abuse, make you sick. Not metaphorically sick, not symbolically sick. It has potential to make you sick. Not Bloomy's opinion. Those are facts. What can you do about it? So the whole essence of us working on the auric field and trying to starve parasites has to do with this right here. Because again, whoever they are for you, whatever the they represent, they're bottom feeders, and they don't have a bottom line. They don't have a moral compass. So, and when I say moral compass, I'm not talking about false, fake morals that's only holding up when you're in front of a pastor, holding up in front of I'm not talking about man-made governed things that's designed for control. When I say it, I'm really referencing something that helps them to gauge if their behaviors are justifiable or not, fair and just, and coming from a more transcendent space. They're going to continue to attack whatever they can. So if they really need badly to affect your resonance, they need to affect, infect, then they're going to affect, infect anything close to you. They're going to look for the leaks and the cracks of all of your relationships. And any of those that you're holding on to, those are the ones that they're going to, really, really go in on, hoping that by proximity and proxy, they can affect, infect, what? Your vibration, your field. Abuse by proxy. However, as we're mastering, you do actually have the power to even master that. You actually do have the power to alchemize even that. Because remember, there's no bottom line with whoever that they represent for you. No bottom line, baby. You're a number. And whoa, somebody in a video, they're gonna say, because I heard it, now understand that sometimes I'm ahead of moments. But somebody is going to say, how did she become so intelligent? How did she learn? Even I don't have all the answers to that. It all out. So then, as above, so below. This is something that you hear in the spiritual community. But this is also why one of the gentlemen that I follow here on YouTube, I understand why he say what he say. And I love his vibe. He's like, I mean, he ain't saying that part mine. That's me. But he says New Age is still bullshit. Like he's just calling it like still bullshit. I get it. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying in this way. Because I can see the truth and the not truth in some of the stuff, the truth and the not truth. Because, why does a bully want to make their target feel like really low and bad? And I'm going to tie that into the auric field. If they can get that target, the nerd or whoever that person is, if they could harass that individual to maybe feel so very low about themselves by being harassed and beat up and beat down, maybe they can zap the life out of them. Maybe they won't be the thing that's bothering them in the first place. So terrorize the nerd, and maybe they'll stop being smart because their smartness is getting their ass kicked. Terrorize the nerd. Maybe they'll lose confidence. Maybe they won't feel safe. Maybe they'll lose confidence in their skills and their abilities. Maybe they'll feel weak, and maybe they'll stop being so smart, and then maybe the bully won't have to feel so low. So tying that into the auric field, it is designed, see how that went, to manifest that into their own reality, their energy, their auric field. If they can penetrate the biofield, if they can infect, then by way of product of such, then the individual will step back, sabotage. The individual will sink into the lower frequency. Basically, essentially absorbing the projection. So then the target's auric field will scan. Will scan as their abuser. Yepers. Because they've absorbed it. They took it on, and all scanning does is not a judgment. All scanning is going to simply pick up the gauge. That's all it's doing. It's not saying why is there and who put it there. It simply addresses the energy, the gauge. So the target picks it up, absorbs it. You see that? And it becomes there officially, because it's really not. But it becomes theirs. And guess what happens to the abuser? The abuser then, because what they did is what they call a karma or trauma dump. They dumped. So even though that the gauge is what's ailing them, they dumped off onto those that they have targeted. This is why often abusers seem to feel, because they can vomit onto whoever the elected object and target is. And if the target absorbs it, if the target keeps it and takes it as its own, and if is unaware and the target is overburdened and they are not able to or whatever to address the auric field, what's affecting and infecting, then not that they're bad, they don't deserve it. It's not for it's because they've absorbed. They took it in. And it's stuck, it's being held. And the target then is going to manifest what? Other things in their lives that they're not trying to manifest. All the negativities, all the toxicities, all the things that belong to the abuser. That belong to those who are trying to negatively impact them. But I wanted to talk about it in this way because I'm trying to scratch that. I am encouraging and empowering those that are overcoming abuse and that are learning about this whole thing called the auric field. That's not just a spiritual new agey movement, it's quantum physics. It's science. Oddly enough, I know it has a weird, like a woo-woo, and you'll see it in a woo-woo-y movement, but one truth doesn't make the other one not true. I've been saying that a lot. This is why the antagonist. This is why, and then as we're attempting, because we don't just know it because it ain't like they told us, okay? But once you get there, okay, frequency, vibration, resonance, frequency, resonance, vibration, and start implementing all kinds of, there's all sorts of things that plays a role, but that you can implement in the toolkit to assist. Then a byproduct, here is where it's fun. This is where it gets even more fascinating. A lot of folks be thinking there's some kind of voodoo or hoodoo that you're doing on them. A lot of folks be getting into the thought that you took some kind of vengeance on them, and they get into, because these are people who do certain things, that's their practice and way of life. So when it comes back, then they be like, oh, they must have, and whoa, they didn't send me the shit. No, they have been maintenance in their frequency. Law of nature and resonance meant then that energy, law of resonance, law of vibration, meant that, and all things with a grain of salt, you can't take everything to the max literal, okay? So fit this in wherever it may apply. That meant that vibration, whatever that energy concentration is, whatever that is, that is meant to infect you. It's still in the cosmos. It's still in ethers. It's still there. So that meant it's going somewhere. It has to find. If you think about parasites, it has to find. So there's a tether, whether folks are aware of this or not. There is tethers, ones, to every practitioner. Everything that they do, everything. Because they're the creator, that's why. They're the creator, that's the origin. Sure, they can do an invisibility spell. They can do a cloak and hide their identity spell. They can do all that, but I'm not talking about whether it's visible or known to anyone else. I'm talking about the invisible tether that's there because they're the creator. And I'm not saying that to provoke any kind of fear. I honor the craft. I'm simply saying the origins. Wearing gloves does not take away the tether. The invisible cord, if you will. Its origins. Where is the ritual? Who was the originator? The signature, the vibration, the originator. What's connected to the originator? So when the target works on frequency maintenance, then this is when you're going to get a lot of people starting to assume that that target must went and done the same thing that they did to them. A lot of targets have not even had the time, room, space, or means to cultivate the way they could have. A lot of the targets don't even have the resources to, or even where to go and who to go to, the way their lives have been. They didn't join these in crowds, these underground in crowds that's got all the stuffs and stuff. So, they don't have any of that. But folks, that's what happens. But again, that's because that's what they're on and what they do. And so then they assume. Effective auric field. They want to affect it, because then by nature of that, then you essentially will be manifesting the doom. You see what I'm saying? Unofficially, you then, because you see it, this is why there's finances, because finances is then tied to your abilities to invest in the things that you may have the wisdom. You may have been given special wisdom because of whatever reason. So this is why they're okay. So if we keep them in this, and then we get, let's affect their auric field, and then they're more susceptible to the lower vibrational entities and parasites in our spells. All of that, so that it'll either look like, if that's not working, then by byproduct you onto yourself because of the vibration that's not originally yours. Somebody's gonna leave us with something to help us, Bloomy, our vibration, because our vibration is being affected as we're listening to this video. Leave us with some encouragement, Bloomy, because this here is making my vibration sad. This is making my aura sad. Okay. Well, take some breaths. Here's some quick little things. I did it on the last video. And every now and moment, when you can, when it warms, if you're able to, always breaths. Breath is going to be the lead, because that's going to give you a moment to gain some quick clarity when you need it. Okay, the 4-finger movement thingy, my bob, that I shared with old boy. Okay, the breath, the 4-finger thingy, my bob. Okay, and then this is when you can, because that's going to give you the moment to get you out of the reaction. And from there, ask yourself some questions that's going to bring you into a resonance of what's actually working for you. You're still going to go back to the thing. We're still going to address the thing. We are not bypassing real life problems and real life issues. We are continuing to take all necessary precautions and steps that are within our likely take. We are not ignoring and passive toxic positivity. What we are doing is trying to positively affect, infect our oil and our resonance so that we can adjust our vibration so that we are able to then continue to manifest on the trajectory that we intend, so that we are not absorbed, consumed by. I know that was wordy, huh? So then we do the breathy thingy and the four finger thingy, my bob. And then we're gonna, however you gotta do it, however it's up. Okay, good. Why? What is in this now? Right now, now, left now, in this now. What is? We gotta recreate it. What is? It's sending signals. Believe it or not, the exercise is not just, it's not woo-woo. It's sending some signals because you're posing a question to the universe. That's a neutral statement, a neutral zone. To your subconscious even. What is? Okay, I'm breathing. I just did the 1, 2, 3, 4 finger my bob, thinking my bob. And that's it. That's okay. That's helping my nervous system. What is? I'm doing this exercise and okay, and what else? What is? Okay. I'm drinking this cool milkshake. Like whatever is in the moment for you that you like, that's what delight, that is working, no matter how small and big. And again, this ain't new agey, this ain't woo-woo-y, this ain't bypassing, it's some signals that's being sent when we do it. That is helping to infect your auric field, which is what? It's called alchemy. We're gonna get there. Alchemy. It's called transmutation, which is going to be helping with what? You maybe feel like are hitting you, and this may not be answering all the questions. Like I said, we're not gonna not okay, we're not gonna not deal, but this puts us in a better, or should I say a higher vibrational standpoint. And it also helps as a ricochet effect, because if the law of resonance won't be able to find it, the entity, the parasite, some of them will find inhabitable and hospitable environments, and it's not going to be comfortable at all. They don't care when we're yelling at it, because that's engagement. They'll get bored, or they'll just see that it can't land. It's incompatible, or something like that. I'm talking from quantum. Your auric field, okay? I got to get going here. Your field, because this plays a major role in what we are experiencing in this plane of existence. So what can you do? Educate yourself about the auric field. What can you do? Take all the steps that are within your means to do. What can you do? How can it get better than this? What other possibilities are there for you if you feel like you are outnumbered, what can you do? What can you do? Okay, and I am always rooting for you, collective. And there are energies that are always rooting, for you, for me, for us, for one another. But they don't want us to know that, see that, feel that, because again, once again, to affect what? Infect what? Your auric field. We've got this scans on the auric field. My attention is on behalf of those that are legitimately resonating with me that I read for. So when you all see, I mean that. That's our scan. That's what's on a collective scale. That's where our auric field is vibrating in those moments. Whenever you see the video, however it applies to you. Okay? Play with it. Be your own science, and it's going to help you learn so much about yourself, how your moods affect things. It's going to help you to learn the difference between when it is your mood that is affecting the projection or an environment. And with all of it, whether it is internally coming from externally, environmentally, or there are things that you can start to do consistently, and it doesn't cost $1,000. You don't gotta go take out a loan. You don't gotta go to Tibet. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And all those things are fine. I'm just simply saying, because not everybody's current realities permit them to do so. So it's empowering and it's encouraging to know that even if one's reality doesn't permit in the moment to just go off to spend $2,000 to go to a retreat, bitch, in Arizona, nigga, where, okay, come back. I grab myself, I swear I do. I always get that version of me that's never gonna die, man. Cut off khakis, French fries, and house shoes. But okay, because she'd be like, that's why I love empowerment that's true, relevant, and simplistic. Because that means shit, right where you at and shit. And you can go to your core and be like 2, 3, 4. And do the exercise. You just did something for your auric field. You just did something for your resonance. You just transmuted some bullshit. Love y'all. Namaste.